drained, unfulfilled, stuck in a soul-sucking job you hate, you're not alone. Millions waste their precious time just surviving at work. I was one of them. In 2020, I was helpless, miserable, and 1 year away from graduating law school and becoming a lawyer. But I quit, and it was the second best decision of my life. But how do you know when it's time to walk away? There's one simple process that will reveal the number one sign you need to quit your job. If you stick around, it's all yours so you can escape this. The job jail dilemma. The job jail dilemma is a mental trap where you feel stuck in an unfulfilling job instead of pursuing something meaningful. You feel trapped by societal expectations and the fear of being seen as a quitter. It's like watching the movie Cats all the way to the end just because you bought a ticket, even though it's objectively terrible. But the movie is your life. You dream of being creative and making a difference instead of just adding to a corporation's profits. You stay safe, clinging to your paycheck, avoiding risk like a ship that never leaves the harbor, forgetting it was built for the sea. You're stuck in a cycle of living for the weekend and dreading Mondays. Your work lacks passion and is just a means to an end. All of that is exactly how I felt in 2020. I thought I had to be a lawyer. It was as certain as the air I breathe. That is until October. I'm walking down a main street in the city to meet my partner for dinner. The past few months have been some of the worst of my life. And for the first time in my life, I start questioning why. For the first time in my life, I ask myself, Lennox, why do you want to be a lawyer? I stop in my tracks as the truth hits me. Money. That is the only answer. Then I zoom in and imagine what the rest of my life would look like as a lawyer. I look through the crystal ball and see my midlife crisis in 4K resolution. 45-year-old Lennox is an overweight shell of a human being with all of the life, passion, and enthusiasm sucked out of him. He's wasted the last 20 years imprisoned in a dead-end and unfulfilling job jail. The image sickened me. At that point in October 2020, I honestly would have rather died than seeing that vision come to life. That is how bad it was. Thankfully, just moments later, I stumble upon the solution. The time paradigm. The time paradigm is about realizing that time is your most precious resource and using it as a key consideration in making big life decisions. It's a lens that forces you to zoom out and look at the timeline of your life as an observer and not a participant. When you use this lens, you realize, and I quote, "You're going to die." And in a distracted, noisy, complex, modern world, this truth is therapeutic, liberating, and a wonderful way to stay focused on another important truth, which is that your time and how you choose to spend it is the only influence you have on the world. Think about that for a second. And remember, lost time is never found again. But you can find more money. Everything changes when you accept this. You regain control over your life. You understand that autonomy, control over your time, is the key indicator of happiness, not money. So trading time for money in a job you hate leads to misery. These are the things I realized back in October 2020. As I walk down the street to dinner and confront the reality that I don't want to be a lawyer, I ask myself another question. What should I do instead of law? The answer's obvious. Start a tutoring business. And that is what I did after graduating. It gave me a sense of purpose, a sense of mission that I had never felt before. I learned more in business after a month than I did after 6 years and $70,000 at law school. Starting the business is the second best decision I've made in my life. But just like the law, it's time to quit that too. Here's the question I ask myself to make that decision easily. The quit question, the number one sign you need to quit your job. The quit question is, does this still serve me? If the answer is no, that's the number one sign you're wasting your time and need to quit your job. If the answer is yes, keep doing the job. That's it. Use the ponder, prompt, proceed process to answer the quit question. Step 1, ponder. First question to ask beneath this ponder heading, is the hardship worth the rewards on offer? If it's not, quit. If it is, or you're unsure, go to the next question. For me, in my tutoring business, the hardship was 1, students lacking motivation to use the product, an online course, parents not understanding my product, teachers not liking my product, and a lot of mental resistance. On the other hand, the rewards on offer were namely helping students get into university and potentially making money later. Next question to ask, do you believe you could make it not suck? If no, quit. If yes or unsure, go to the next question. For me, I believe I could make it not suck by motivating students to use the product, educating parents about the product, convincing teachers my product's good, and somehow overcoming my mental resistance. Final question to ask, is the effort that it would take to make it not suck worth the rewards on offer? If no, quit. If yes or unsure, go to the next stage of the process, prompt. For me, I didn't think the effort that it would take to make all of that not suck was worth it to potentially make money later and to help students get into university. Nonetheless, I wanted to make sure I was making the right decision, so I moved to the next step, prompt. This one has 2 sub-steps. Sub-step number 1, brain dump. Type all your thoughts about your job into a notes page. Think pros and cons, but don't worry about structuring your thoughts. The whole point of the exercise is to dump all of them onto the page in an unfiltered way. Sub-step 2, ask AI. Copy and paste your brain dump into the prompt section of your preferred large language model, like ChatGPT or Google Gemini. Beneath all of the text of the brain dump, insert the following prompt. Give me a comprehensive pros and cons list based on the above regarding whether I should quit, insert job. Give me a clear answer, do not sit on the fence. This is what I did as I was sitting in my home office on the 23rd of February 2024. I'm dumping all my thoughts on a notes page. The answer emerges as I delve deeper. It's so obvious. But I still want to see what ChatGPT and Gemini says, so I hit enter. This answer comes up in ChatGPT, but I want to see what the other one says, and this is what Gemini comes up with. Step 3, proceed. Super simple, take action based on the answer. In other words, don't quit or quit. I see those answers from ChatGPT and Gemini and try to make it official by writing this down in my daily Notion diary. I quit, and it was the best decision of my life. It's been almost 2 months since that day I decided to quit, and I've never been happier. But I realized something. One of the rewards on offer for my tutoring business was helping students get into university. I can still do that. The business charged $1,495 for an online course I spent 3,000 hours and $80,000 creating. The online course helps students get into university, not me. So I just published the entire thing for free on YouTube. Like, right now. Now it's official. So I've technically quit twice now. If I never quit the law, I'd still be depressed or worse. It is that simple. Quitting made me happy and saved my life. It could save yours. Simple summary. Job jail dilemma. Feeling stuck in a job you hate because of fear and societal pressure. Time paradigm. Remembering time is your most precious resource and using it to guide major life decisions. The quit question. Does this still serve me? The ponder, prompt, proceed process is how you can answer the quit question. And here is the lesson. It is the one thing you should take away from everything we have already discussed. Overcome the job jail dilemma with the time paradigm and the quit question. To wrap up, here is a quote from a great fellow who wrote a great book. Most of us go through life as failures because we are waiting for the time to be right, to start doing something worthwhile. Do not wait. The time will never be just right. Start where you stand and work with whatever tools you have at your command, and better tools will be found as you go along. Shout out Napoleon Hill. If that doesn't push you over the line, ask yourself,
what's the worst thing that can happen?
Answer. You try and fail. So what? That's 1,000 times better than never trying and forever regretting. Another incentive. Join my online community, Saints College, to get the tools you need to start pursuing your passion. There are about 35 free spots left, and then the price goes up to $10 per month. Links in the description. Anyway, that's it for this lesson. I am close-ish to 100 subscribers. Please subscribe if you haven't already to help me get there. Thank you so much, and keep it simple until the next one.
Community acknowledgements. Roya, Han, Rohith, Caitlin, Thib, McClay, House. Thanks for your help.
By the way, if you liked this lesson, go and check out this one somewhere around there.